Hello, how are you? It's good to see you. Good to have you here today. My name is Leah. I am the senior coach at Health Jumbo. Health Jumbo is an organization that takes care of your mental health and also takes care of your weight management issues. Today in studio we have a guest. His name is Wenceslas Kizito. He is the founder of Nonviolence Communication Kenya, KE, and he's going to tell us more about him, more about the nonviolence communication and why we need it in our day-to-day life. Welcome to Health Jumbo, Mr. Kizito.
Thank you.
So tell us more about yourself.
My name is Kizito. I'm a family man, and I am the director of Nonviolence Movement in Kenya.
Yes. What is nonviolence communication?
Nonviolence communication is a language of empathy, which means that people should speak in a manner that put the interest of others in considerations rather than putting their interest first. That when I'm talking to you, I should put myself in your shoes at your standpoint and try as much as best I can to see things on your perspective. Yes.
Maybe if I may ask from what you have explained, there is what we know violence to be.
Yes.
We see like violence is war. We are accustomed to using violence in a word like to meet when people are fighting bullets, pangas, all those things.
Yes.
Are you trying to say that violence communication only happens when there are times of war, or it is something that happens in our day-to-day settings? Maybe you can give us examples.
I think there is a misconception in how people define violence. Violence, it comes in different shades and in different levels. There are extreme levels and levels which may seem so minimal, but that expressed that's still violence. For example, if you use terms like "let me fight my right," fighting means the lover. You express yourself through words, and through words people tend to understand you better. You become distinct by the way you express yourself. It's unfortunately when people get in marriage, they forget the very tool that help them to realize their goals. And the tool was purely communications. It will be a small thing like, even which meal are we going to eat dinner? That can spark into a hatred. People can start arguing and become very bad. So it's very important for the spouses and family at large to understand on how best to express themselves without being offensive. Because when we express ourselves in a manner that respect and promote dignity and respect for the people that we are passing information, those people are likely to take it positively, and we are likely to make more progress in achieving our desired goal than if we express in a manner that is coercive, the manner that is manipulative, the manner that is very disrespectful, and lack of dignity. So the other party feel offended, and they also respond back in the same manner.
So how do we go about nonviolence communication? What are the steps in nonviolence communication?
There are four very important steps. First step is observation. You need to see the person, observe that person from their point of view, understand them from their point of view. Most cases, we tend to respond to our point of view, which is the biggest mistake we do. Secondly, we need to do what we call a need assessment. What need that this do you want to achieve in this? Because as a communication is when we can be able to realize our needs. Thirdly, what requests are being made and how well can we be able to make that request? So it's very essential that those four tools encompasses the conversations that you should not be able to forget as you are communicating with your spouse, with your children, with your brother, with your parents, and that is the best way we can be able to do. Because if I understand someone's best way of looking at things, if I understand the person's need, if I make a better request in a polite and civil language, with full of empathy and concern, I want to believe that people will respond positively.
Awesome. There are people who maybe are resonating with what you're talking about. They feel like they have hurt those who are close to them. There are bosses listening to us today, and they feel like they have hurt their juniors by the words they use to express themselves, especially when their needs are not met. There are spouses that feel that their partners have hurt them, or there are people who have been accused in the past of using the words wrongly. and maybe they want to adopt this skill of nonviolence communication. What advice would you give to such a person? How does one get to acquire this skill of nonviolence communication?
I would say nonviolence skills is not something that people are born with. It's learned. You can learn it, and if anything is learned, anyone can practice through consistent practice. You get to master the language. Because let me use an example. When kids are born, they're not born with the language. They learn the language. So it's a skill that acquired through continuous learning. It's interesting that for us, as you have mentioned, the workplace, there are certain goals that need to be achieved. There are missions to be accomplished. There are set targets that are supposed to be done. But those goals, how do you realize them? How can a manager or a boss in an organization be able to articulate that vision properly without the employee feeling they're being taken advantage of? So the language itself, it must be language that promotes full of empathy. First, it must demonstrate that the employees are very important people. They're not just people to be used as objects to achieve certain goals, but the people who are part and parcel. They have a sense of ownership in these missions, because in the realization of these missions, they also benefit. They are benefiting themselves, the community, and the society at large. So this language is something that can be practiced at workplace, at family place, at the government levels, because when we adopt and we become conscious of our words, because words are very essential. For example, if you use the word that you must, you are killing someone's will, because at that point you are not allowing that person to give his point of view, because it must be done. But if it's a language that I request you to do this, that person feel okay, these are requests, and the level of compliance will be mostly highly than if you say you must have to do this, because the person feels that's a request. I have to ensure that I also give back in the same manner.
Awesome. How about the person on the other side? You mentioned that failure to adopt nonviolence communication kills the will of the other party.
That's right.
How about those people whose spirit has been killed by adoption of violence communication at the workplace, at home, or even children who are growing up in homes where the language of communication is hostile and violent? What would you advise such a person?
The simple and the easiest thing to advise is to change, to flip language. For example, if I say, I want you to do this, it's a language of command. You feel you are under duty to do it. Failure to do it, there are sanctions that are most likely to come with it. And humanly speaking, people fear sanctions. For example, if I'm a child and you're telling me that I must wash my clothes, if I fail, I expect respect. If I'm an employee working in an organization and you tell that I must do this, I know the consequence. If I fail to comply, I may end up losing my job, and I need that money, to be honest, to keep myself going. So I'm going to do things, but I'm not going to do it from my bottom of my heart. I'm going to do it because I feel I'm obligated under duty. And every time people do things under obligation, they do not enjoy it. But if we speak to them in a language that shows concern, for example, I say, I love what you're doing, and if the more you keep doing that, makes us happy. Recently, 3 days you have done very well, but 2 days you have not done it nicely. Could you keep doing what you have done in 3 days? You see, that is a reminder that you are doing something better. I want you to keep doing that better things. So when people are appreciated, when people are positively affirmed, they feel encouraged and inspired to do more. And that is the only way we can be able to curb that language. And it also acts as a therapy to those who are already who feel victims. Because when you speak kind words, people tend to listen and feel that you are concerned and you care.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for coming to our channel today.
It's my
If you have any question, kindly shoot them here. We are going to answer. We are going to share his contacts. If you want coaching, if you want guidance on nonviolent communication, if you want issues with anger management, he's here. He's going to help you. We are going to share the contacts down here. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Today's show was sponsored by Vitamin C. This is a vitamin C drink. We shall also give you guidelines on where you can get it. Thank you and bye. Good to have you.